Do you struggle with a tight IT band? If so, this video is for you. What is the IT band? The IT band is a band of thick connective tissue that runs from the top of the hip down towards the shin bone, just outside of the knee. And it has a big stabilization role and transmitting forces role in our bodies. But it does get really achy and overworked with things like chronic tightness from prolonged sitting, activity that you're not used to, sudden increases in activity. And if you are a runner or someone who walks a lot and has a weaker core or weaker glutes, you might run into IT band trouble as well. So just to tell you a little bit more about the IT band, it's not a muscle, it's a thick band of connective tissue, it's fascia. So it's layers and layers and layers of thick tissue over top of muscle, so over top of the lateral quad. And it actually is an extension of fascia from the gluteus medius muscle back here and the TFL at the front here. That blends down right to the knee. So some things I'll show you that you can work on for resolving this are actually decreasing tension in the TFL muscle and the glute med, as well as getting that fascia moving and sliding and gliding better with some release work. So because we're dealing with fascia and not muscle, it does take time and patience when doing these self-release techniques. So it's not just a simple roll, one and done type of deal. You want to apply deep pressure to the connective tissue and sustain it and let it melt. So I will show you a couple different techniques that can be used for this area. I would start by using a ball to get to any tension or trigger points or fascial densities in those two muscles I was talking about at the top of the hip, the TFL and the glute med. So I'll show you TFL first. For this one, you want to find your ASIS, which is the pokey hip bone at the top, and then just below and to the outside of that, you'll feel kind of like a meaty, sensitive, smaller muscle right here. I got it right on the ball, and then you can lie down and let that kind of sink in. This area can sometimes refer pain down or sensation down into the shin area. That's normal. And you want to let it melt and hold for a few minutes at least. To work through your glutes, you can either do it lying on your back, finding your tailbone, and going just off into the middle of the meaty glute area. If we want to specifically bias the gluteus medius muscle, we'll just move it up a little bit towards the top of that iliac crest. And hold. I prefer adding a little bit of stretch to this. So I'll show you what that looks like. If you put the ball in the same area and bring your leg, the same leg that the ball is under, into a figure 4 position like this, so ankle is over top of knee. We're getting stretch and compression at the same time, which is what we want for true fascial release. And again, we're gonna hold for at least a few minutes, even up to 5 if you can tolerate that. And then most people do well with a foam roller for working on the IT band tissue specifically. So I have a half foam roller here. You can use a full one as well. Remember, we're not really rolling, we're more sustaining that compression, okay? So I'll set it up right here, and I like to divide my IT band into thirds when I'm working on this, so I'll just start in the middle, like so, or maybe the upper third so you can see me. Yeah, and just make sure you're not right on the bone on the outside. We want to be in the meaty part of the outside of the thigh. And you can fully lie down for this as well. You're gonna wait for the tissue to melt, holding for a few minutes. Then to get into the more middle section, we're gonna do the exact same thing. And you can have that bottom leg that you're working on slightly bent. And you can also straighten it if it's comfortable. You'll feel there's different levels of tension depending on how you're positioning that bottom leg. That's pretty tender for me there. And then for the last few minutes, I would focus on the end of the IT band, closer to the knee, but not right on the knee. Yeah, that's pretty tight. And holding there for a few minutes. And make yourself as comfortable as you need. So those are the 3 different things that you can do from a fascial release perspective to work on a tight IT band. But remember that the most important thing is that you work with a specialized therapist to figure out the underlying cause. There are many different underlying causes that could contribute to IT band pain that are either external factors, things that you're doing in your day-to-day that can be modified, or more intrinsic factors that we find in other areas of your body, in your tissues, that could be contributing to tension there, since we know fascia is one big web of tissue. So make sure that you reach out to a specialist if these 3 stretches aren't getting you the results that you want quickly.